Hi, I'm going to our Mike, and today I'm going to show you what's inside the box of my game Pandora Celeste. But before we get into that, I'm sure you're all aware that this is just a prototype. And that's very, very true of this box, which is actually handmade because it's just too prohibitively expensive to make the small prototype quantities of a box like this. And that's because it does this. It folds out to create the game board on which you play the game. And once you've opened up the box, the first thing that you'll see is this Read Me First manual, which basically takes you step by step through your first couple of games, teaching you how to play the game as you play along, so that you never really have to refer to this rulebook here. This rulebook is more of a backup, and you have a index at the back which allows you to refer to rules in detail anytime you need to clarify anything. And then you come with a Xeno data log, and the Xeno data log basically provides you with all the information you need to know about the nasties that are crawling through this ship. So it tells you their name, in this case the spider bug, how many hits it's got, what damage it does, as you'll see with the spider bug. Some do special damage, which is described in the observations on instincts in below, and the observations on instincts tells you what this creature does when it follows its instincts. And that's true of all of the nasties that you find in this game. Every player gets a symbols quick ref, which essentially tells you what the symbols on your cards mean. And every player also gets player mat. And the player mat has a space for you to put your deck face down, space for you to put your discards when you play your cards. There's a space for any tool that you have ready, and there's also a slot for any defense that you have active. And at the top, you have 7 slots which you can slot your cards into when you take wounds, because your cards are your hits, your wounds. And then the deluxe game comes with 2 card inserts, and you lift the top card insert out and you place it on top of the back of the ship here, like so, and that creates a 3-dimensional vent system that you can move around, overlaying the ship. And that's true on both the front and the back of the ship. And the whole idea of this was basically we wanted something that mirrored the layout of the ship below, but which overlaid the ship and allowed you to feel like you were moving through a proper vent system in a game like this. Because every film in this genre has a scene in the vents or the tunnels or the sewers or whatever. And we just wanted to give you that feel. The bottom insert has a little card reminding you not to remove it. That's more a suggestion than an instruction, because if you really, really wanted to, you could just remove the bottom insert and play on the mat board as it stands. But in very early playtests, our playtesters essentially told us that it was difficult to keep track of whether you were in the vents or whether you were on the ship, on the 2-dimensional board. And so we created this 3-dimensional vent system which allows you to move around over the ship. And as I've said before, at the moment this vent system is in hard acrylic, but the manufactured version will be in heat moldable PET plastic, which will be more durable, take more knocks, etc., 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 and the vent nodes will be permanently stuck onto them. Everything you see here in the front of the ship, in this front insert, is what you get with the base game. And this is everything you need to play with the front of the ship. And so you get a whole bunch of scenario tokens like this with nasties and memories, and tools that you can pick up all over the ship. You also get scenario tokens. So bugs that you get in the scenarios, nasties that you find in the aircon, and there's even a flamethrower that you can build out of bits that you find lying around the ship. Um, there are fire markers and also hull breach markers for when you blow a hole in the side of the ship or whatever, and wound markers for when you inflict wounds upon the nasties. And the crew and the nasties in the front of the ship basically come as these cardboard standees, which just essentially stand up. And as well as the nasties, the base game comes with 4 crew on cardboard standees, and these are your archetypal sci-fi crew members. So you've got Fly Girl. She's the ship's pilot. She's your classic sci-fi heroine. So she's got 2 personal cards that are unique to her. This one is either move and dodge or move and fight. And this one is her emergency takeoff card, which allows her to essentially get off the ship faster than some other characters. And she's also got cards that allow her to move and sneak around in the ship. And then she's able to climb up into the aircon. She's able to access security doors, climb up into the aircon again. She's got another fight card. This is her ability to gain cards from her discard pile, and another creep around card and pick up stuff. So that's Fly Girl. The next crew member is Skins, and he's the company android. And as the company android, he's able to recover more cards than other players, and also he's got special ability to absorb more damage than other players. He can also access certain areas of the ship that other characters can't access using his bypass card, and he has security access to the ship. He's also able to move around and pick up cards like most characters. Like most characters, he can also fight. And he's also got some engineering skill, and he's also got the ability to use his communicator to make anybody the first target of the nasties, which can be tactically quite useful. And then we've got Cargo. Now, Cargo is the ship's cargo officer, resident techno geek, and his personal cards reflect that. Oops, excuse me. His personal cards reflect that. They basically enable him to use any tool on the ship. He's also the shuttle pilot, and as a shuttle pilot, he can get onto the shuttle and use the shuttle to escape better than others. He's got your standard recovery cards, your standard fight. He can do pickups, a little bit of engineering, and he's also able to use his communicator. And the final character is Cap. And he's a jack of all trades. He's got the ability to do a little bit of everything, and also the ability to command his crew to do a little bit of everything as well. But the downside of that is that he's got a bit of a dodgy leg. So as you can see, his movement is a bit slower than everybody else, despite the fact that the cards in his deck allow him to do virtually everything that everybody else can. And then each big nasty in the game comes with its own individual card. So you have the Monster Bug, and the Trophy Hunter. The Trophy Hunter, excuse me. The Trophy Hunter also comes with a set of drones that it sends out to hunt for its prey. You have the military android. And oh no, you're not supposed to have seen that one. That one is for the future, if it manages to jump through time, but we'll worry about that later. Okay. Sorry. Where was I? That yeah. And then the front of the ship comes with a ship deck of cards that all match the ship deck tokens that I showed you before. These come with tools, which can be very, very useful, and nasties, which can't. If you try and pick them up, they're going to bite you. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in this ship deck, and you basically place that in the slot reserved for the ship deck there, and when you pick up a token on the board, you replace that in your hand with a card from your ship deck. Similarly, you have memories, and these are memories of useful places in the ship. So you have a memory of hiding places in the ship, for instance, or a memory of your self-defense protocols, how to dodge, and so forth. And these, once again, are placed face up there to be picked up when you pick up the token from the board. And then you have the Nasty Action deck, which is a multi-purpose deck. It does a whole bunch of things. And one of the things it does is it acts as a combat deck. So you look at the top hitboxes and the bottom hitboxes. Top hitboxes if you're using weapons, or it's a big nasty. Bottom hitboxes if you're using your fists. Or it's a little nasty. Red hits, blue misses. If you get a reshuffle, then you have to reshuffle the combat deck. There is a push your luck mechanic that allows you to count the cards, which can save your life, but you get it wrong, it can. That's not good. And then the Nasty Action deck also doubles as a AI, basically telling you what the nasties do. Top for big nasties, bottom for little nasties. And finally, there's a kind of randomizer which tells you where in the ship big nasties will spawn when the big nasties start to appear on the board. And you basically shuffle this deck and you place it face down on the board there. And then the other deck that you have on the board is this deck, which is the vents deck, and you have a whole bunch of little things that are scuttling through the vents. This happens to be Lil Nasty, the ship's pet alien that's hunting feral cats through the air vents. You also have the ability to climb out of the air vents built into the vents deck. So as you move through the vents, you pick these cards up and they might be useful to you. Alternatively, once again, there are nasty things lurking in the vents. So, be careful. This is shuffled. This is placed on the vents deck like so. And then you also have a set of scenario cards. Now, these scenario cards are basically here for the training scenarios, the learning scenarios, the ones that the Learn to Play manual refers you to. And they essentially seed the board and create a preset scenario that will teach you certain things about the game. And there's also a set of cards that is essentially spare noise. There are certain times when you need to record what noise your character has made, and this enables you to do that. There are objective tokens for just a mark on the turn tracker and so forth. And these are linked to a deck of tarot cards. And within this deck of tarot cards, you have this, which is the ship's protocols. And the ship's emergency protocols, basically, the ship is going to defend itself by initiating between 1 and 3 of these protocols, which will basically kill you if you don't shut them down, or worse. And so you have to cooperate to shut down these protocols. And finally, as well as essentially a sort of couple of quick reference cards with a map of the ship on the back, you also have these, and these are your agendas. And they're designed to essentially feel like plots in these movies or subplots in these movies. So you can rescue the ship's mascot that's up in the vents, or you can essentially try and find smoking gun evidence that the company was up to no good. Or you can try to lure a specimen, try and lure a big nasty into your escape vehicle and get off with a specimen, or just try and take back the ship. But also you have company agendas, which are essentially trying to stop you from doing some of these other agendas. And then you have, things like the Guardian Angel, who's going to protect everybody, and industrial espionage, or a undercover reporter who's essentially trying to get information about what's going on this ship. And so these add a bit of theme to your gameplay. And if you fulfill the agenda, it also enables you to get off the ship quicker on your own. Otherwise, you have to wait for everybody else. And that's basically the front of the ship. I mean, the last thing to do really is to essentially get the doors out, you've got a little set of three-dimensional doors like this, and you set up the security doors like so. Um, yeah, there we go. And as you can see, what you end up with is a ship layout with this lovely three-dimensional overlay, which you can essentially move through the vents like so. Alternatively, you're moving around in the ship like so. And because the insert is clear, you can very, very easily see what's going on in the ship. You can see the map of the ship.
So that's all you get in the base game, the front of the ship, for around about $60, slightly over £45. But that's not all we want to show you, because we want to show you this, the back of the ship. And this comes with the deluxe game for around about $90 or just over £70.
And for that, you get 6 crew, which come on beautiful acrylic standees. And these are absolutely lovely. I really, really love these. I think they look great. And you basically get 6 crew and the 3 major big nasties, all in beautiful acrylic. And with that, you also get 2 new crew decks, which is Greaseball, the ship's mechanic, who's a bit of a brawler. His cards basically allow him to face up against the nasties a bit more than others. And then the kid, because there's always an annoying little bratling in one of these films, isn't there? Scuttling around in the vents, basically getting away with everything. And that's the kid for you. And the ship back also comes with its own set of stern deck cards. And also, the other thing you get at the back of the ship is the cargo bays. And the cargo bays have a deck of 9 cargo cards, which some of them contain something nasty, like this Venusian man trap. Others contain more useful things, which you can use. And there's a kind of a plot mechanic also buried in these cargo cards as well. You get a couple of extra agendas that are specific to the back of the ship, mainly specific to the cargo. And that's what you get with the deluxe add-on. You get acrylic standees, you get a whole extra back of the ship with a whole extra new set of cards, and some extra agendas to play with, which gives you much more, even more replayability, and a larger area to play on. And then we have a couple of add-ons. One of the sets of add-ons is these, which is a set of add-on minis. You know, personally, I love the acrylic standees, but if you're more into minis, then we've got minis for you. And there are minis of both the characters, the crew, and there are also minis. Excuse me, I'll try and get it out of the packet. There we go. There are also minis of the monsters, and they are beautifully detailed and basically, you know, can fit on the ship in much the same way as your standees do. And then finally, the other add-on we have is this. This is the Shapeshifter, and this is a deck of 12 Shapeshifter cards, which you deal out to the crew. Each crew member gets 2 cards, and anytime a crew member is on their own with another crew member, you have to swap a card. One of these cards is the carrier, the shapeshifter virus, which is trying to spread itself through the crew. If you get that card and you've played victim, then you become the carrier. But if you've played resist, you expose the carrier. That's the shapeshifter. So, as you can see, you get a lot of game for your buck. You've got the base game, you've got the deluxe game, you've got some pretty cool add-ons. And if we fund early, then we're going to give you extra monsters as stretch goals. Oh, you've already seen one of them, the time jumper. And we've got a whole bunch of other ideas, plus extra crew members and some extra protocols and that kind of thing. Um, if you're interested in this game and you want to find out more, just type in Pandora Celeste Game Found on any search engine. We are hoping to launch on Game Found.
In July.
Also, search for www.guntowergames.com/Pandora Celeste, and that will get you onto our landing page. We're going to be at UK Games Expo at the end of May, start of June. So do please come and try us out there if you're at all interested. And until then, stay frosty and don't back into too many dark corners. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.